Hi guys, I'm Em and welcome back to Eight-Legged Babes. So as we reach the end of 2025, I thought it was probably time to do a full spider collection tour. I of course was struggling to figure out the best way to organize this video because I have 4 shelves of spiders. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of break down who's on each shelf very quickly, and then we'll go by true spiders and then tarantulas. Up top is my penthouse, and that's actually kind of a mix. There's one tarantula and then true spiders. So we have my 1 mature male tarantula hawk, and then I have my 3 velvet spiders and my house cobweb spider. And then from there we have the lit up shelf, which is going to be the jumper zone. So we'll go through all of my jumpers that are there. And then down in these 2 shelves, I have my baby shelf, which is kind of like the nursery. This is all my tarantula slings, so ranging from like 1/4 of an inch all the way up to inch and a half. And then I also have my wolf spider slings here as well. And then finally, the bottom shelf is going to be my teenagers. These are my 3 tarantulas that are definitely not mature, but they're too big to be in the nursery. So I'm just gonna kind of pull everyone off the shelf and go through all the spiders that I've gotten this year. I'll be totally honest, because so many of them are slings and so many of them are tarantulas, there's a good chance we aren't gonna get great shots of all of them, but I still want you guys to see the spiders that we can get a good shot of and just who all we have in the collection now. Let's get started. So first up, we're gonna start with true spiders, and we're going to start with my velvet spiders. Now I have 2 genuses of velvet spiders. I have 2 irisis spiders, and then I also have a stegodyphus genus of velvet spider. Let's take a look at them. This is my irisis walkeneri, who actually just matured out into, or just molted out into a mature male about 2 to 3 weeks ago, and he's beautiful. This is actually the first male velvet spider I've ever seen in person. And it was such a cool surprise to get him to mature out. I got him in November of last year with 2 other irisis slings from Fear Not Tarantulas, and he's just gorgeous. He's actually being very calm right now, but now that he's a mature male, he doesn't really eat very much, and he just cruises all the time around his enclosure. So I'm probably going to give him an enclosure upgrade in the next couple months. I don't know how long I'll actually have him. He's not gonna be with us for a very long time, but I'll probably give him a slight upgrade. This space is big enough for him, but he moves around so much. I wanna have a little bit more room for him to really cruise. I don't want him to have so much room that it wears him out, but I want him to have enough room that he's not stuck trying to kind of weave his way through, you know, moss all day. So we'll probably have a little bit of an enclosure upgrade coming up for him in the spring after we get through the new year. Right, next up is my Irisis volcanicus. This is the Turkish velvet spider, and we're gonna have a tough time finding her, I bet. But very similar enclosure to my other irisis, which was the Irisis walkeneri or the Greek velvet spider. Let me see if I can find her. And sorry for the wobble today, guys. I'm kind of doing this with a handheld, so let me see. You guys can just see she's right in there. Yeah, we aren't gonna be able to get much of her. Nope. Anyway, she's about the same size as him. She is a different species than the wall canary, but they look very similar before they mature out. This is going to stay her enclosure for the time being. Probably in another molt or two, I'll update her as well, but they don't use a ton of room. They are very, you know, locked in one space. The only time they are moving a lot is if something is wrong or if they've matured out, like my sweet boy here. And actually, I'll say I don't have names for either of my velvet spiders, my irisis velvet spiders right now, because when I got them, they were so small. I had no idea, you know, what they were going to mature into, that I just kind of left them be until they matured out. So if you guys have any name suggestions in the comments, I would love some ideas. At first I was thinking something along like the three muses from Greek mythology, because these are all Mediterranean species, but now that I've lost one of them and one's matured into a male, I feel like I can give them a bit more individual, like, names that align with their personality. So if you guys have any ideas, I'd love to hear them in the comments. And last but not least of the velvet spiders is my Stegodipus lineatus, or my desert velvet spider. Now this is Salome. She is right in here, and I'll try and get a clearer shot of her in just a second. But this is her enclosure. It is a Tarantula Cribs mini coffin. It's their web candy edition, which if you guys have been following my channel, you probably saw the rehouse. I really liked it because of the iridescent back. So size-wise for her, this has actually been a really great size enclosure. But she is tucked away in there. They are a very reclusive species, I have found, even compared to the irisis genus of velvet spiders. This species is very tucked away. She's actually kind of rearranged her web recently, so I actually have more footage of her than I normally would, because she used to be tucked into this little tube here. Yeah, this is kind of where she hides now, and she's been adding to it, so she's definitely found another comfortable spot for her. And I will say I love all my spiders. I don't have favorites, but for anyone looking to get into spiders and you don't know really what to get started with, you like jumpers, you like tarantulas, you're not really sure where to go, I will always recommend velvet spiders because they are exceedingly easy to care for, especially for people new to the hobby. And I don't say that in the sense that you can just ignore them, but they don't have humidity requirements, and they're, like I said, very confined to small spaces. They don't require a lot of leg room the way a jumper would or a mature tarantula. So you can keep them in smaller enclosures. They feel safe with a bunch of stuff shoved in there for them to build a web in, and they don't require humidity. You don't have to worry about water. You just have to make sure you're checking in on them, you're feeding them regularly, and you just get to enjoy them and watch them grow. And for such a reclusive spider, as you know, both irisis and Stegodipus genuses are, they are very fascinating to watch. They are probably some of the most aggressive eaters I have out of all of my spiders, and that includes true and tarantula. And they're just really fun, and they just have a lot of personality. So velvet spiders are definitely a go-to for me. Okay, next up we have my Steatota triangulosa, or my triangulated cobweb spider. She is my only truly native species that I keep to where I'm located, which is, you know, New England, United States. And I caught her when I first started getting into spiders. Anyone who lives up here will tell you that these guys are everywhere. We usually get just, you know, a ton of them in the summer. They'll pop up in every corner in here. And so I figured, you know what, I'll keep her. And this will be my first real like test outside of keeping jumpers Do I like keeping other spider species? Do they interest me the same? And if they didn't, no harm, I could easily release her and it was safe. And of course, I ended up falling in love with her. And I put her into, this is the, I want to say the 4-inch tarantula crids little house. It works perfect for her. It's probably almost a little oversized, but she has a lot of little nooks and crannies to hide in. And cobweb spiders are another species for people new in the hobby. They are exceedingly easy to care for. And depending on where you live, they are easy to find in the wild. I will say I'm not someone that's going to openly advocate for taking spiders from the wild, especially more popular species like jumpers. But with cobweb spiders, you're gonna see a lot of them. I mean, we have dozens every year in the house. So one being moved into an enclosure is not a huge burden on the population. And they are a nice substitute if you really like the widows, if you like the way widows are shaped, their style of webs, but you're just not comfortable keeping something like a widow. Like I'm personally not comfortable keeping a widow yet. This is a really great substitute species because they're built very similar to widows. They're actually called false widows in a lot of places. And you get to really enjoy how widows behave and how they hunt, but without the danger of a potentially really nasty bite. All right, next up, we're gonna do the jumper shelf. And for this, I'm actually just gonna take the camera and kind of walk down the shelf because there are a lot of jumpers right now. I have 3 Phidippus regius, which are the regal jumping spiders. I have 1 mature female who is my original jumping spider. She was the first one I ever got. And then I have 2 slings. I have 1 Phidippus arizonensis, which is an Arizona jumping spider. And then I have 20 Johnson's jumping spiders, or Phidippus johnsoni. Those are all Molly's babies. I've actually been able to find new homes and sell quite a few of them. I'm down to 20. So I'm just gonna kind of walk down the shelf and give you guys a view of everyone I have up there right now because we don't have the time to go through all, 25, 26 jumpers I have. So let's go. Okay, first up we have Luna. Now this is my mature female Phidippus regius. She is an old lady at this point, so we don't push her. She was, like I said, my first jumper I ever kept, so she is not used to handling. It was just too new in the hobby for me to really know how to adapt a jumper to handling, so I really didn't want to push her. So she just gets to live out her old lady life and snooze all day, which is pretty much what she does. And I have her in a Tarantula Cribs medium switch, which has worked pretty well. I have a lot of cork bark. I have a bunch of different hides for her. Honestly, she mostly just naps on the sides, but I do provide her with a lot of soft options for landing just because she is older. She does fall from time to time and I don't want her to hurt herself. And I will say for this enclosure, it's worked pretty well. It almost is too much space for her. She used it more when she was younger, but I would almost say I could do a slightly smaller enclosure for her than the one that she's in currently. So that's something I'm going to kind of keep in mind with my new batch of babies as I rehouse them. Try and think through, what size works best for them and makes them easy to access if needed, which was another thing I ran into with this enclosure. It has a lot of options for access. It has a top panel, it has a front door, but because it's so big, once she got behind certain pieces of decor, there was no way to safely access her. So like for feeding, stuff like that, I'm trying to think through better housing options for my jumpers in the future. Okay, next up we have my Phidippus arizonensis, which is Sunny. I've had her since I want to say last April, something like that. And she was a mature female when I got her, so she's definitely a little bit older. Of course, you can barely see her because she's webbed up the top so much, but she is in this little tunnel. And she's actually, I finally got her to eat yesterday. She's been sitting on an unfertilized egg sac for about 3 weeks now and has not wanted to eat. So luckily she finally took a waxworm. Most bizarre thing about this species so far, and this probably isn't a species thing, this is probably a Sunny thing, she'll only eat waxworms. Like, I've tried mealworms, I've tried crickets, I've tried roaches. She'll only take waxworms that are like 4 times her size, and she eats her fill and then she leaves the rest and I clear it out. But it's just so funny that she's this tiny little Arizonensis jumper and she only wants waxworms. So, and you know what? She's an older lady, so she gets what she wants. Now for this enclosure, I mean, side by side, it is much smaller than Luna's, which is the medium switch from Tarantula Cribs. This is just an acrylic display case for like figurines that I put my own vent holes in. So it's a perfect size for Sunny. She honestly could probably be in something a little bit bigger, but she's such a small jumper that this works well. She's easy to access if I need to feed her or check on her. And I was able to put a lot of decor in here, and this for the most part is decor I've made. This mushroom I got off Etsy, but everything else I used like little pieces of cork bark, little sticks that I cleaned and then put magnets on. And from the 2 mature females we have the babies. So for the most part, this row, these 2 stacks, and these 2 stacks are all Phidippus johnsoni. These 2 right here are my Phidippus regius slings. This is Acorn. And these I got from Mads, who I actually featured on the channel like a month or 2 ago when I got Charlie from her, which is this one. And Charlie's really funny. She always kicks her molt out almost immediately after molting, which she just molted, I want to say probably last night. So we aren't going to mess with her too much. And Acorn is definitely in pre-molt, so I don't want to mess with her too much either. But these 2 babies are going to theoretically be just as big as Luna. So I kind of am starting to make plans about what size enclosure I want them in. But for now, this is perfect for them. I just use some pipe cleaners and I curl it up. For them, I actually did it horizontally, which works a lot better, because the ones I hot glue gunned to the top for my johnsoni babies, they like bounce a lot whenever I open them. And it's kind of, if the baby jumpers are on it, it becomes like a wild ride that they did not sign up for. So I kind of modified it with these 2 and it's worked well. But yeah, so these 2 are obviously keepers, but they're my regal jumpers. And then these are all what's left of Molly's babies. So she had, I want to say 52 at the start, and this was her 2nd sack that I got out of her before she passed away. And I think about 10 passed before they made it to like I3, I4. And then the rest is this. I found homes for them. I sold some of them on Morph Market. And right now, these are just kind of the babies that are staying in residence. I do have them still available on Morph Market, but I have shipping shut down for the winter, so only local pickups. And honestly, with the holidays, I'm not doing any local pickups until in the new year. So right now we have Christmas with the babies. And as you can see, some of them are working on some mealworms. They've all been upgraded to mealworms. Most of them are just chilling. They all got misted today. I try to mist them usually every, I would say 3 to 4 days for the Johnsonis. The Phidippus regius, I try and mist every day or every other day just because they're a more humid species. But yeah, they're all doing great. Okay, so now that we're through the bulk of the true spiders, we only have 3 left and they're on the nursery shelf. So I'm gonna go through them really quick and then we'll get into the tarantulas. Full disclosure, I'm going to pull them out. We're probably not gonna see them, but I'll show you what their enclosures look like and maybe we'll get lucky. I need to be better about getting footage for you guys because they've grown so much since I rehoused them. We're gonna have to rehouse them again pretty soon. Okay, so we have 3 Hogna carolinensis, or, let me zoom out a little bit, Carolina wolf spider, also known as the giant wolf spider. So these are their enclosures. Now each one, what I've learned with these, and it's kind of my favorite thing about keeping them, is they all are basically trapdoor spiders at the moment, which I have seen clips of wolf spiders behaving like trapdoor spiders, but I didn't really think much of it. All of these have built their own tunnels with trapdoors, which I really like. So I'm gonna see if I can remember where the trapdoor is for each one. Yeah, so this is her. Oh. Oh. Did we see that? Oh, it's too dark. But yeah, so that's the tunnel. She actually came out a little bit to try and close it on us. And I'm sorry again, guys, for how wobbly my camera work is gonna be on the spiders today. I really wasn't sure the best way to film like a full collection tour, so I've gotten better with a lot of camera work over the year. This is just gonna be one of those wobbly days, so let's see if we can find the one in here. I have a little light. Let's see if we can get a little bit better view. I think it's up here. Yep. So you guys see that tunnel right there? I doubt she'll come out. Yeah, we're not gonna be able to see very deep, unfortunately. But let's go ahead. We'll be nice neighbors. We're gonna close it back up for her. That's not the best trapdoor. She can be mad at me. There we go. That's better. Okay. And it's disappeared. Can't even see it. I love their trapdoors so much. They're so cool. Okay, last one. I know where her trapdoor is. We'll see if we can get her to come out. Okay. Oh, wow. So I don't see her in there. But if you guys can see, that tunnel goes all the way to the bottom. So she might have moved. Okay, so I actually found her new tunnel. We're not gonna be able to really see her, but I wanna show you guys. So I moved this oak leaf out of the way and I found her new tunnel right there. She's tucked in along the side. I mean, she's dug all the way to the bottom. So unfortunately, we're not gonna be able to see, but she's like tucked in along the side of the burrow. What we're gonna do is we're gonna very politely close it back up the way it was. And then we're gonna put the leaf right back on top. Let me make sure it's not fully blocking it. I want her to be able to get out. Perfect. Ta-da! They are such good camouflagers. It's true. It's really crazy. But we got through all the true spiders and now we're gonna switch over to the tarantulas. We're gonna start with the smallest first, so the babies, and then we'll move up to the juveniles and then the one mature male that I have. Get this light going. I'm gonna start with the smallest first, so that is gonna be my Syracosmus elegans, or my Trinidad dwarf tarantula. This is from my most recent video, so you guys have already seen her. Okay, I just gave her a little misting off screen. This, unfortunately, is going to be what we see with a lot of our tarantulas today, which is just a really, really nice jar of dirt. An exceptional jar of dirt, some may say. I don't recommend digging up your tarantulas, even if you're worried about them. I scooted a bit of dirt around a couple days ago just because I hadn't seen her really since I rehoused her. I've been checking to make sure moisture levels are good. I've been dropping in fruit flies and cut up mealworms, but I really had not seen her, so I wanted to do a quick peek. Saw her, she's good, so now this is just a jar of dirt. And you know what? That's fine. A mantra I saw right when I got into the hobby, and I just stick with it now, is tarantulas and spiders know how to spider better than you do, so leave them be unless there's something very serious that you can help with, but a lot of times just let them do their spider thing. Next up, we're going to be doing my Brachypelma Amelia, who is teeny tiny. She's also from the most recent video where I got an order from Spider Shop. You know what, we might be able to see her underneath. That's kind of my trick. Oh, there she is. I can see a booty. Zoom in a tiny bit. Oh my God, that is a rotund sling. I am the worst for like micromanaging my slings and checking in on them too much. And luckily, every time I see her, I'm like, no, you're good. You don't have to feed her. Look at her. She's dug a really good hole over the past week. My guess is she's in pre-molt because she is one that actually likes to kind of hang out at the top of her little cup a lot. And the past week she hasn't. The past week she's been really dug in, which makes me think that she's going into pre-molt. So we definitely will not be messing with her, but oh my goodness. Oh no. She realized she's been spotted. God, she's so cute. Hi. We won't mess with you too much. Okay, on to the next one. So for the next two, these are actually ones I got from Hardcore Arachnids back in late spring. I want to say May. So we have two. We have my Brachypelma classy, my B classy, and then we have my Clavipelma tamaulipeca. So we'll start with my B classy. There we go. That's my B classy. She's been doing great. She's probably molted 3 or 4 times since I've gotten her. And she's dug a really nice tunnel, which I'll try and show off. It goes all the way down here. I actually rehoused my Clavipelma into one of the more traditional like deli cups that my other slings are in. And I was considering moving her as well, but she's honestly got such a good tunnel and she's so happy in here that, and she successfully molted in here multiple times, that until she outgrows it, I don't really want to mess with her. So she's doing great. Little fuzzy booty. She was the first one that was like on my wish list, and I saw her on Hardcore Arachnid's website and I was like, I need her. Next up is gonna be our Clavipelma tamaulipeca. This is the Sierra Madre woolly, which is definitely available a lot in the hobby, but it's a newer species to the hobby. She actually, I just rehoused because she was really kind of struggling. Let me see if I can get her in shot. Kinda. We can kind of see her. She's definitely plumped up too. I just gave her a mealworm yesterday. She was struggling to really burrow in the enclosure that I have my B classy in. And I usually, like with my B classy, I don't want to move them from an enclosure that they're comfortable in, that they haven't grown out of, if they've really established themselves, if they have a good burrow. This spider just really never got comfortable. And so I, about a week ago, moved her over and she immediately found a better burrow. She dug in and she seems much happier. She's able to hide much easier, which is something that I really kind of heard from a couple of people in the hobby that really rang true to me. Like, if your spider seems skittish or defensive, try and figure out what in the habitat you can adjust that fits them better. The next 4 are all around the same size. 3 of them are from my most recent Spider Shop order, and then 1 is from my Fear Not order back in, I want to say August, when I got Princess Peach, my GBB. We'll start with my T. Vegans, who I got when I got my GBB Princess Peach. She actually, I also rehoused about a month ago because she had really put on some size. I don't know if we'll be able to get a shot of her with the glare though. Yeah, so she's, there we go. Yeah, so she's right here. She's got a really good tunnel. She's put on a ton of size in probably the last couple months because I got her, I kept her in the same enclosure size as my B. Amelia. Okay, I'm going too slow. I know that. I hope you guys are ready for a long video of me holding cups of dirt, because that's what today is. So the last 3 are from my most recent Spider Shop order. So I have my Neoholothelli Insai, my Toledo Cottle Schroderi, and then my Lasiodora Kluge. We're not gonna see the Lasiodora Kluge. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'll go ahead and show you guys the cup. It's a nice cup. It's beautiful. I have not seen this tarantula since 2 days after I unboxed it. And again, I'm not gonna dig her up. I'm letting her do her thing, but she dug a hole right there. And about a week after I unboxed her, she covered it up and I haven't seen her since. So she was pretty chonky when she arrived. She looked like she could easily be close to pre-molt, if not already in pre-molt. So I have a feeling she just buried herself and is taking care of herself. I've seen so many stories of people in the hobby that just like their tarantula buries itself and they panic and then they come out, you know, months later and they're totally fine, if not a little hungry. So for this species, I make sure this soil never dries out fully. Some of the other slings are New World terrestrials that are more like Southwestern United States to more arid Central American, so I'm not as concerned about them drying out for a day or 2 and then me re-moistening them. This species, I want to make sure there's consistent moisture and the humidity doesn't drop too much. So next is the Neoholothelli Insai. I'm obsessed. She's gorgeous. And she's already molted once with me. Actually, I think she's molted twice for me already since that Spider Shop video, which is insane. She molted almost immediately after I got her. And then she molted again, I want to say about a week ago. She just took a mealworm a couple days ago. And you can see she has created little web tunnels. Very similar to a GBB. Actually, I care for her and treat her very similar to a GBB. Keep her more on the arid side. I mist as opposed to making sure that there's a lot of moisture in the soil. But yeah, she is just, and she's like tangerine colored. Now there's 2 varieties of the Neoholothelli Insai, because these are the Trinidad olive tarantulas. There is the traditional, the olive, and then there's the gold. This is the gold variety. You want to say hi? Look at those little paws. Oh. Okay, like I was saying, if you guys are in the hobby and you've kind of overlooked the Holothelli or the Neoholothelli genuses, stop. Stop doing that. Especially if you're someone who really likes GBBs, go get you one. Last but not least from the babies is my Toledo Cottle Schroderi. So this was actually my freebie from the Spider Shop order. This is a Mexican black velvet. So I actually have 3 Toledo Cottles now in my collection. I think they're a completely slept on genus. I think way more people in the hobby should have them. Toledo Cottle Vegans are beautiful. Toledo Cottle Schroederis are beautiful. I'm really excited to see what this one looks like when she matures. Now, obviously, there ain't nothing going on up here, but there has been some extensive construction happening. She's right here. Oh, there we go. Okay, there we go. You guys can see little leggies at least. Yeah, she's been, once I got her, it took her a couple weeks to really figure it out. I kind of ended up adding a bit of substrate and digging a bit clear of a tunnel for her. But once she got a tunnel going, this is her job. She is a blue collar worker, day in and day out. She digs dirt and she puts it new places. This is, all day, every day I see her moving dirt. Most of my babies of this size are unnamed. So next up are my preteen tarantulas, which will get better shots of some of them, definitely than the babies. Let's get started with Princess Peach, my GBB. So she has molted twice for me, I want to say, since I got her. She's doing great. She's webbed up her enclosure really well. This is the enclosure I use for basically all of my terrestrial juvenile tarantulas. So probably in another molt or two, honestly, probably more than that, I'll have to start thinking about what I want to upgrade her to. But she is a faster grower, which GBBs tend to be. And yeah, I love the patterning on her, and she's just so beautiful. And she's very jumpy, which is to be expected. With this enclosure style, there's not a ton of places for her to hide. And she, of course, does a lot of webbing up at the top of an enclosure. So she's not going to burrow, she's not going to tunnel. So I try to be mindful of that when I'm interacting with the teas on that shelf, because she's going to be the most reactive to me moving stuff around, just because I think she feels the most open. Okay, next up we have Barbie, my Grammostola rosea. Let's see if we can get a shot of her. She might be a little bit shy. She's out a lot during the day. There she is. Let me see if I can shift it a little. Oh, you see a leggy. There we go. Now I'm not gonna feed her anything just because I just fed her like 2 days ago and she's getting very plump. There we go. We have to show off Barbie. She's my pink baby. She's my girl's girl. There we go. That's a pretty good shot. She is very plump right now and very pink. Yeah, she's put on a lot of size. Especially for a Grammostola, I'm really excited with how much size she's put on, because I know it's gonna be a long time before she's mature. So yeah, she's my baby. I love her. Okay, next up is my Toledo Cottle Verdezi. So this is Velvet. We're not gonna see her, would be my guess. Let's see if we can get a little. You can see she's got a pretty extensive tunnel network. These two are the ones she hangs out around the most. She's also very much a nighttime girly. Like Barbie and Princess Peach are out during the day, but Velvet, she is a nighttime girly. Through and through. Oh, well, from this angle, hold on. Oh, she keeps moving her butt. There we go. Not the best shot, but we got a shot of her, so there's that. She's also very plump. She's like, what's that light doing? And last of the preteens of my tarantulas is Blueberry. So Blueberry is pretty well known on the channel. This is my Carabina Versicolor. Let me turn on my iPhone. There we go. We are not going to get a clear shot of Blueberry, unfortunately, because she's webbed up pretty well. She actually just molted again for me, so she's molted 3 or 4 times since I got her. Because this is her new house. She was not in this when I got her. She was actually in a dram vial about that big. So there's been a big upgrade, and she's already not outgrowing it, but she's definitely grown into it. It's definitely like a good size for her now. I wish I could get a clear. Oh. You can kind of get a little shot of the booty. Okay, now it is time for the teenagers. So these are my biggest tarantulas outside of Hawk, my mature male. Probably, we'll start with Jacoby, my grandma stole at Actaeon. He's probably the closest to maturing. There's Jacoby. Let me zoom in a little bit. Hopefully he doesn't go anywhere. I just fed him a couple days ago, so he's nice and plump. He is so beautiful. And of course, he is the king of filling up his water with dirt. Ignore the springtails. They're the cleanup crew. Next up is going to be Lapis. This is my L. Sazami, or my Brazilian blue tarantula. Now, of course, she was actually out when I pulled her enclosure out about 2 minutes ago. I didn't realize it because I was expecting her to be in. She's rarely out during the day, and the minute I moved it, she ran inside. So will we get to see her? 99.9% guarantee we will not. She's also in a Sterilite style enclosure. She's the one that is the shyest of my, teenage age tarantulas. So this works better for her. It gives her a bit more coverage, and she's on the lower shelf, so she doesn't get as much light. I think she just feels a bit more protected there. But yeah, let's see if we get lucky. I doubt it. So this is what her enclosure looks like. Obviously her zone is back here, and I'm gonna get the light. Oh, I can just see her booty. Yep, not much movement, unfortunately. It's so hard to see. I can just see her, but the camera won't pick up on it, I don't think. That's okay. There was gonna be a few like this. Me just touching her enclosure sends her into her hide, so. But I'm so bummed she was out and then she went in. Oh, Cooper might be coming out though. So Cooper was my first terrestrial tarantula. So Hawk, who we'll do last, was my first tarantula ever. Cooper was my first terrestrial tarantula. Well, here's a pretty good shot of her. Not nearly as good as I would like. She's gotten so much adult color. I'm blown away by how she's gone from just a brown sling to like an actual Choco Goldeny since I got her. She was a species actually that I had never planned on getting. I, for some reason, saw Choco Goldenys and was just like, they're just a pretty classic. Just didn't really blow my hair back. And then multiple people in the hobby that I asked, like, hey, I'm looking to get a terrestrial tarantula. Which would you recommend as my first one? They all said Grammostola pulchripes. They all said Choco Goldeny. And here we are. Okay, I'm glad we at least got pretty clear shots of her. She's my baby. Okay, so last but not least is my avicularia hawk. And he is a mature male. I'm gonna hold up his enclosure. He gets the big boy enclosure and you can actually see him back there. I'm gonna get a close-up of him as best I can. Probably top down because he does not web up the lid at all. He matured last spring, late last spring. So he's been a mature male for a bit now. And I love him. I love him a lot. He was the first tarantula I ever bought. First rehousing I ever did. First tarantula, actually only tarantula to get loose in my house. But it was only for about 30 seconds in the kitchen. Really, it was like, I went into moving him into a better enclosure after I bought him. I went into it like, it can't be that hard. I watched all these videos and it ended with me with a catch cup on top of my kitchen cabinets grabbing him. So you know what? We all start somewhere, and he's taught me so much about tarantulas, especially arboreal tarantulas, because their care is very different than terrestrials. And he also was the first spider that I looked at and immediately thought, this is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And I'd never thought that looking at a spider before. I've looked at my jumpers and I was like, they're so cute. And I looked at my velvets and I was like, they're so cute. I looked at him moving around his enclosure the first day I got him, and I just was like, boy, I've really blown it for, you know, the 30 years I spent afraid of spiders, because this is the most beautiful creature I've ever seen. So I owe a lot to Hawk. And that being said, I do want to show him off a little bit. Because he matured out, I mean, this would have been 6 months ago, 8 months ago, something like that. He might not be with me a whole lot longer, but that's okay. Now he's in the extra large tarantula crib switch, which works perfect for him. That being said, if I knew now, or knew then what I knew now, I think I probably would have gone with a cork round rather than a cork flat, and I would have gotten a backer for him just to feel a bit more secure. But he's pretty happy. He's a pretty typical male tarantula. He will do his laps every once in a while, kind of looking for a lady. And then after that, he chills for a week or two and just in his web. So not the most voracious eater, obviously, but he still eats, which makes me happy. So hopefully we have him a bit longer, but mostly I just want to make sure he's happy and comfortable. But those are all of my spiders so far. So I'm gonna count them up. And yeah, let's see, we have 47 spiders in my collection. That's crazy. A year ago, I didn't even have 10. A year ago, I didn't even have 10, and now I have 47. I don't know how that happened. I do know how that happened. It was me. It was my fault. All right, guys, that is gonna do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed getting to see everyone that I have in my collection now, and I hope you guys have a great end to the year. I know this hasn't been an easy one for any of us, so I'm sending all of my viewers and all of my audience just so much love and warmth, and I'll see you guys in the new year. Bye.